Hello everyone, we have another important guest today. She is Sara. She has very interesting activities right now. She has charity related activities as well as she do lot of works and present pandemic situation in Australia. And most important thing is that she has a brilliant mind. She has a lot of interesting thing and she love human being and she want to contribute for global arena. So hello Sarah, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you, Professor. So I'd just like to tell you a bit about myself. I'm Sara Lavoipierre, the Director of Open Source Medical Supplies in Australia. Through my leadership, Australia has benefited from over 710,000 personal protective equipment distributed and manufactured primarily in Australia. With a dedicated team, we have just successfully distributed PPE, personal protective equipment, to large corporations, namely supermarkets and banks, hospitals and individuals, to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Saving lives, and our contribution has been incredibly successful and a pivotal advancement in manufacturing, supplying and distributing PPE. As the 8th generation of the Lavoipierre family, with the Lavoipierre family's contribution to law, medicine, and education dating back to the 1700s, my key areas of professional and volunteer experience include medicine, science, marketing, web development, graphic design, animation, social media, and strategic planning. With a wealth of professional experience globally and my dedicated professional proficiency, my knowledge and understanding has provided me with the foresight to discuss key areas that are advancing medicine globally. Open Source Medical Supplies Australia has set the standard moving forward into the new world, refusing to give up despite barriers and no funding whatsoever. Furthermore, I am incredibly grateful to have led an exceptional team of dedicated Australians who are incredibly talented, driven, and collaborative. Shortages of personal protective equipment, such as face shields and masks, have inspired small and large businesses in Australia to use their skill sets to provide design manufacturing capabilities to an often overwhelmed Australian healthcare system. Operation Personal Protective Equipment quickly grew to include not only labs in computers, science, medical, mechanical engineering, and other fields across campus that had 3D printers and laser cutters, but also small and large businesses, firms Australia-wide.
Okay, this is very interesting, but I want to know what's the present condition in Australia in COVID-19 situations and how you manage your supply chain, because you are working with different hospitals and the different organizations inside Australia, and how you cover your supply chains and what's the present condition.
The present condition in Australia is that we've done extremely well because we've only had 104 deaths within Australia, and because majority of Australians have abided by the rules by our government. How we supply hospitals, large corporations, etc., through supply chain management is purely through me contacting an individual to supply that equipment. So it might be, like an Uber driver or, whatever it may be. I ensure that the hospitals, large corporations receive the supplies that they need.
Okay, you are handling one of the important things right now in Australia, and Australia is a very big country. And when you work or set up your supply chains and your all of the activities, so what's the challenges, what type of challenges you face, how you overcome from this situation?
Well, I guess the main challenges that we faced in the beginning when, with Australia is that we didn't have the capability to produce much in the way of manufacturing. But luckily, there's what's it called? A warehouse in Shepparton in Australia, in Melbourne, Australia, that have helped us sufficiently with supplying PPP equipment. So we've worked closely with them, Open Source Medical Supplies Australia, and yeah, we've managed to supply 710,000 PPE Australia-wide with them.
Okay. One specific things like, do you have any idea about the present situations in Australian research lab, especially now they are working on vaccines and different kind of medicine?
Yes,
Can you
I do.
share something?
Yes, I do actually. So there's been a lot of Australia has really come to the fore with COVID-19. In Adelaide, we've got trials going on. There's in Melbourne University is also working on a vaccine, and that's all that I know of currently. And individuals have been incredibly altruistic and actually, basically submitted themselves to receiving the vaccine.
Mhm. Okay, like you are talking about like about the new era of this world, and especially the medical science and everything. Why
Mhm.
you why you choose this kind of objective in present situations? So how you want to achieve this objective about the medical equipment and this business and as well as you want to connect with the global arena. So I just want to know how you want to achieve your goals
Mhm.
and what the global strategy you want to follow in the future.
It's not a global strategy that we're following in the future. So in the next 2 weeks, we'll be launching an Australian website for open source medical supplies in Australia with all our suppliers, with the open source medical supply logo on each individual product. So hand sanitizing stations, face shields, ventilators, gloves, wellness kits, etc. And so we've already got that underway. So that's incredibly exciting.
Mhm. Okay, very interesting. As you said that your father also a doctor, I want to know the frontliner situation in Australia, how they work, how they taking the initiatives. What's the present conditions in Australia right now?
It varies. So public hospitals have suffered tremendously because of lack of PPE and protective equipment. Private hospitals, not so much because, they have the money to be able to purchase the equipment. So, but in general, we're doing incredibly well in Australia. That's
Mhm.
evidenced by the amount of, we've only had 104 deaths in Australia.
Mhm. Beside that, you have a charity-related activities. So, how you handle your charity, and is it only for Australia, or you focus also the global market, global arena as well?
It will be focusing on the global. It will be focusing on globally. So basically, what I realised through my work with Open Source Medical Supplies Australia is that generally people are suffering globally, economically predominantly at the moment. And I'm incredibly altruistic and kind, compassionate in nature. And I was determined to launch this charity, which is Australian based, but unlike a traditional charity whereby 80% of the profits go towards administration, our charity will be working differently. It'll
Mhm.
be 50% or as least as possible to be able to support support globally, support individuals globally.
Okay, like as you want to do the healthcare related jobs and
Mhm.
business, as well as you do a lot of charity and this kind of things. Actually, what your career objective, how you want to focus, or as you are talking about international arena and the global arena, you do want to focus on developed nations or developing nations. What's your target actually?
Developing nations.
Very good. And like how you want to contribute for them.
So basically, I've already got fundraisers lined up, events lined up, but I'm just awaiting upon approval from ASEX, which is Australian Security Commission Australia, for our charity Worldwide Wings, which already has board members, and then we will be able to contribute on a global level.
Okay. As you were discussing about the developing nations, what specific countries you are focusing right now? Or do you have any personal experience to integrate it with the developing nations?
Yes, I do have professional and volunteer experience with integrating developing nations. I volunteered for the Oak Tree Foundation in Australia, Oxfam, etc. And I'm an incredibly kind, compassionate person, and I always do my best to help people or help nations that do need that economic support, particularly now when we've had this unprecedented pandemic.
Okay. In this pandemic situations, like, do you working with any of the developing nations, like even Indonesia, even India, even example Pakistan, Bangladesh, or Africa? Any of the specific country you are working with them right now, or you just planning in future you will move with them?
Well, it's to be honest, Sheriff, until the global worldwide wings is launched, I have been reaching out to developing nations, India, um, Bangladesh, etc., Brazil, and the USA, to help them. But until it's actually a registered charity, I'm not able to provide them with funding.
Mhm. Okay, this is very interesting. This is very interesting. So, you love to contribute for human beings, and you love to do work for the developing nations, and you have your own vision. This is very interesting. Already, there are some audience response. Like, I think he's your friend, Alessandro. He said, "Wow." On the other hand, Humaira Tanzila, she come up with one of the questions. She said, "Hello, ma'am. Thank you for your time. Do you think Australia will tackle this pandemic same like before?" Like she want to know that how Australia will tackle this pandemic situation, COVID-19 situation.
Sorry, can you repeat that question? How?
She want to know
Mhm.
how Australia gonna tackle this pandemic situations. What you want to share here about the Australian strategy, medical science, and the hospital strategy that how they solving this pandemic situation.
Well, well, we've done incredibly well in Australia, but that's predominantly because I guess that people have followed the rules, and we've been in lockdown for roughly 4 months. People have lost their jobs. We're currently in a recession, etc. And I'm very mindful of the fact that there are, globally, we're incredibly lucky in Australia. So that's why I want to contribute to countries that, need that economic support.
Okay, good. Beside that, like example, we want to know Australian culture. We want to know Australian different beautiful things. How you want to share for our audience?
So I guess I'm very proud to be an Australian, and Yeah, I'm half, yeah, so I'm Franco-Mauritian and Australian.
Mhm.
And we're a very kind of kind, altruistic country, and we always support um, any cause that we can globally. Just to put things in perspective, before COVID-19, we had the bushfires in Australia for roughly 5 months. So that was tremendously difficult. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Sheriff.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. One specific things I want to know, like you always think about the future of medicine. So,
Mm-hmm.
what will be the next 2 3 years strategy? How this world gonna improve this medical science, and how do you want to share your knowledge with us about this future of medicines and this kind of thing?
Well, I believe the key to the future of medicine is basically supporting research predominantly. And I'd like to expand on that if that's okay with you, Sheriff.
Mhm. Okay, so there are many interesting things you want to do. Can I get explanations from your side that why you focusing on these things? This is because of your family; they have their involvement with medical science, or why you choose this way, how you want to work, what's your future plans, and what your organizational strategy in terms of globalizations and global impacts, how you want to work. There are many questions actually.
Okay, receiving a lot of questions here. So basically, uh, just give me 1 second. Okay. Uh, just as one example, I don't know if you're familiar with nanotechnology, but
Mhm.
nanotechnology is a field of research and innovation concerned with building things, generally materials and devices on the scales of atoms and molecules. A nanometer is one of billionth of a meter, 10 times the diameter of a hydrogen atom. The diameter of a human hair is, on average, 80,000 nanometers. At such scales, the ordinary rules of physics and chemistry no longer apply. Nanotechnology can, amongst other things, help solve major health problems. It can potentially increase manufacturing production at significantly reduced costs. Nanotechnology is already a useful tool in healthcare research. It can also lead to cheaper, more reliable systems for drug delivery. For example, materials that are built on nanoscale can, amongst other uses, help solve problems in the future. It will create manufacturing production, at significantly reduced costs. Nanotechnology is already a useful tool in healthcare research. It, it can also lead to cheaper, more reliable systems for drug delivery. For example, materials that are built on nanoscale can provide systems that protect and secure enclosed drugs in a slow and controlled manner. For example, in Melbourne, which is where I live, a company called Star Pharma is already working sorry, give me 1 second, already commercialized products based on its nanotechnology across diverse applications such as sexual health, drug delivery from pharmaceuticals.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. Like, do you have integration with this kind of technology? Like you know how it produced, what type of nanotechnology? You can give some example that which will really helpful for at present situations. What's your idea?
So basically, my idea, well, it's not really my idea. So if you imagine, so nano, with with nanotechnology, like it's roughly, each molecule is roughly the size of a human hair, and so you can use those molecules to produce, for example, medicine. You can use them for a multitude of different products to for the future of medicine.
Okay, okay. Let's talk about the different issues. As you are doing charity and this kind of things, like here is important things that you need to change human lives, and you target different developing nations like India, Brazil, Bangladesh, and many countries like that. Do you have any experience like you visited India before? Or do you know the real scenario of Indians people and what type of challenge they have right now? I just want to share with you one of the specific information because we are working with the Indian Institute of Technology from campus, and we discussed with Dr. Agarwal. So at present, India, more around 20 million people, they are going back their village, so they also have a lot of challenges. Not only India, even Bangladesh, they have challenge, and different developing nations like they have challenges. So in that situations, actually, what's the practical things you have to change this human life? Even this government, they are thinking about the smart village approach. How, like, what type of experience you have, how you want to change this life, and how you want to integrate it, this human being's life. What's your objective? How you, what do you think?
Well, I think the core of it is that, India is suffering, much like Brazil, with, poverty, extreme poverty, etc. And that was that was well before COVID-19. And I've always been, determined to contribute. And I guess this year has just been an incredible year because I've succeeded to do things that, I never thought I could do, basically. And I'm very aware of what's happening in India currently. And so Worldwide Wings will be helping with education, with extreme poverty, etc.
Okay, like as you are discussing about educations and extreme poverty and this kind of things, like how a human beings, can you hear me? Hello, I think that she has a problem with internet connections, and we are trying to connect with Sara about the like the present situation she gonna discuss, and so, dear audience, actually, she is trying to develop some activities and business with this in this pandemic situation, especially in COVID-19 situations. So, hopefully, she gonna join with us, and she gonna make some sort of contributions for in this pandemic situations. So, I'm trying to communicating with her in this present situations. Sorry about that. Basically, I think she has some problem with internet connections, so that's why she cannot communicate with us properly. But she has some very good, important missions, and she is trying to working with the healthcare system, as well as she is trying to developing some of the strategic things in that present situation. Especially, she shared some of his things on how she can contribute for the developing nations, and especially in present situations in Australia, they are handled this COVID-19 situation very well, and she and her organization trying to play an important role to solve these specific issues and solve these specific problems. So in that situations, hopefully in future she gonna join with us, she gonna share her experience and other things. We are trying to empowering women, especially those who are contributing in developing human beings with their medicine, with their healthcare systems, with their educations, and many more things. So especially she do two type of works. One is charity, and another one is a global healthcare system. So if you have any kind of questions or anything, you can communicate with Sara, and hopefully she can contribute for the development of human being. And if from Australia or any other country, is there any people who want to develop any kind of solution at present situations, especially based on the COVID-19, we are interested to invite you in the World Talent Economy Forum discussions. So if you can join in the World Talent Economy Forum discussion, you can explore, you can share your experience, you can share your views, and by this way we can solve different kind of problem. So tomorrow we have another sessions. This week we are inviting many important guests, those who can contribute for development of human being. So tomorrow also we have a programs with one of the interesting guests. So I request to all of my guests and audience. I apologize for. I think she has a problem with internet connection. We are trying to communicate with her, but she do not respond. Maybe internet problem or any other problem. We do not know. So in future, we will come up with a more interesting topic. We will come up with a more interesting activities. And I think Sara now responds that she has a problem with a laptop. So her battery, she said that my laptop ran out of battery. So my team also trying to communicate with her. Uh, so thank you. So she is coming back online. Like when she come back, definitely she gonna respond. She gonna answers, give all of the answers. So by this time, if you have a questions regarding her organizations, regarding her solutions, regarding her activities, you can ask us questions. Sorry, dear audience, she's joining with us. She's joining with us. So I think she's facing some of the problem.
Hi, sorry
Hello.
about that.
Yes. Okay, no problem, no problem. So we just, as you facing some problems with your internet connections and other things, just want to know more details, activities about your organization. This is our objective.
Mhm. Yeah, sure. So basically, Worldwide Wings is will be a global charity to help India, Pakistan, as many countries as we can. However, nothing amazing gets achieved overnight. So it will be a long process. We've got a board of directors in Australia currently, and we're looking for global boards of directors to come on board.
Okay, understand. So, okay, let's focus on the some of the interesting things. So
Mhm.
here we have many audience from India, even Pakistan and Bangladesh, even for many audience. Do you observe cricket? Do you have any engagement with Australian cricket? You know, can you share something the Australian cricket news?
To be honest, I'm not a huge a cricket fan. I'm a bit of a more of a more enjoy just spending time in nature and just observing. It's been really an interesting period during the pandemic because I've noticed, particularly in Australia, um, people have been in lockdown, so our ecosystem is kind of thriving at the moment, plant because there haven't been as many cars on the road, etc. No fossil fuel, and I know that Australia isn't perfect. We definitely need to move towards renewable, not using fossil fuel, and sustainable, sorry, solar power, etc. But there's some exciting, developments that I'm working on with worldwide things. So yeah.
Mhm. Like if like people want to visit Australia, what
Mhm.
area they should visit? What?
Um,
Yes.
it just depends what your kind of interests are. Um, my favorite area or place in Australia is Byron Bay. It's beautiful because the sea is, or the ocean is beautifully warm and just a really, like, it's a very loving kind of community, and very focused on holistic health, and it's a beautiful place to visit, and that would be my recommendation for any of the viewers watching.
Mhm. Okay, very good. We want to hear something interesting from your personal experience, like
Mhm.
from your childhood. Do you want to share some interesting history with us, or from your educational life? Do you want to share something interesting with our audience, which
Yeah,
you?
sure.
Yes.
So, when I was 4 years old, um, and in primary school, so one of the prime ministers of Australia at the time, Sir Robert Menzies, his wife visited my primary school, and I didn't have any idea who she was at the time, and she just seemed like such a beautiful woman, and I noticed that she seemed, her hands were cold, and being an innocent 4 year old, I just said, your hands are cold, let me warm them for you. And that's kind of the core of who I am. um, I always do my absolute best to help people and to warm their hearts, and to give them hope and show them that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that you can achieve what you want to achieve, and that I'll be there for you.
Mhm. Okay, okay, cool. So, like, what, like, how you expend your leisure time, like, beside
Um,
your professional life, and how you expend your time? Yes.
so some of my interests and activities are spending time with friends, going walking, running, reading, singing. What else? Hmm. I'm not much for party girl, really. But yeah, I do enjoy dancing.
Okay, very good, very good. So, already there are some response like Enrique. He said Sara is doing an awesome job with showcasing the work that the Australian healthcare workers are doing. And he also said the in Uma University, a friend of a friend is leading an effort to produce masks for the hospital using 3D printing. Are you employing 3D printing in Australia? Are you doing like you are doing a great job? So I think he may be from your friends and these things. So this is very interesting recommendations and about you. One important things I want to know, like from your friends, as you mentioned that you handle global wing. So do you have any friends that you want to share your friend experience, and you want to share your friend activities with us, or anything interesting?
So basically, yeah. So I have a sister, but she's not my sister, but she's my sister, not by blood, but you know, we just, you know how you connect with someone, and I won't name her, but she's originally from Brazil, and you know, she's a constant source of inspiration to me. She's got the most beautiful heart. She's a social worker, and she's inspired me to be a better person, and we've worked together at Oxfam, etc. And that's basically, you know, why I'm doing, well, what I'm continuing to do is because I want to create a better world, and a world whereby everything's transparent. It's not, you know, as I mentioned earlier, with charities, traditionally most, like 80% of the funding goes towards administration, and that's not how Worldwide Wings Australia will work.
Mhm. Okay, so you have a good commitments, but when you have a good commitments, when you have a good objective, but when you go for the practical experience and practical work, you find lot of challenges, lot
Mm-hmm.
of things, lot of different culture, lot of different peoples. So how
Mm-hmm.
do you gonna how we you handle, how you manage different cultural peoples, how you make a better friendly relationship and professional relationship, how it
I've
works?
already made friends all over the globe, Sheriff. So I don't think I'm going to have any issues with that. And I'm always respectful and kind, because I believe, you know, that no matter where you come from in the world, that you need someone that can, you know, assist you and be respectful. And so I'll always use Google Translator. I can't speak Hindi, unfortunately. I can't speak Arabic, German, etc. But if I'm contacted on Facebook, via email, or whatever, I will respond to them respectfully, and let them know that there is hope.
Mm. Can I know the what's your organization mission and vision? What you want to share with our audience?
So our mission and vision is to predominantly economically, it'll start with economic um, support for underdeveloped countries, in the form of, you know, education, what's it called, you know, supporting poverty, or not supporting, alleviating poverty, etc.
Mm, mm. Okay, understand your point. Basically, dear audience, I think that she is a little bit of in a situation she is trying to explain, because when I communicate with her, she share her even certificates, her strategy, what you she want to share. She's trying to share. So if you have any beautiful question for her, you can ask her. Don't be puzzled, Sarah, because we all of you, we are friends. We are trying to build up World Talent Economic Forum, trying to build up a better ecosystem. So that's why we need everyone. We need all of the talent peoples. So it does not mean that only you express properly. We know that you do many good job. We know you have a better understanding about the human beings. We know that you are trying to do something for the human being. So don't be puzzled. Whatever in your mind, just try to express with us. So then maybe people have different questions, different answer you can come. So one question in my mind, like when I
Mm-hmm.
discuss with international community, I try to ask them. Let's say you are CEO of your organizations, okay, and you have two options. One option is that like you have your Australian friends in
Mhm.
between your university or in between your community. You can hire 5 people. So you can hire 5 people from Australia
Mhm.
on in between your friends. This
Mhm.
is one option. Another option is that you can hire people from 5 different countries. Maybe you can hire from USA, you can hire from Europe, you can hire from Middle East, you can hire from Africa, you can hire from South Asia. So what strategy we will take? You will hire people from your friends, those, or you will hire people from different cultures, people.
Different cultures.
Why?
Most definitely different cultures, because that's the only way that we're going to really make an impact, I guess. And like, I don't want it to be an Australian based charity. It will be an
Mhm.
Australian based charity because that's the only way I can do it. But in terms of the board members, I'm very, very much interested in getting international board members involved.
Mhm. I think dear international audience, this is also opportunity. You can communicate with Sarah. She gonna work with you. She is very passionate, very positive to develop an international community for her charity and for her healthcare like business and this kind of things. So like, do you visit Asia before? Let's say Singapore, Malaysia, or
Yeah,
example,
I've visited
Indonesia.
Malaysia.
Okay, okay. What's your experience?
So I visited Kuala Lumpur and it was incredible.
Hmm.
It was just, oh wow, out of this world. And I think at the moment that's what I think a lot of people, well, globally, I've just been noticing that we just all kind of are longing to travel to, whichever country it may be. And that's not currently possible because of the pandemic. And
Hmm.
personally, like I was planning to actually visit South America for the first time this year, but unfortunately, I can't currently. I will. And one of my closest, good friend. I've got good friends that are Indian, um, and so that's why I just see. I always go out of my way to help others.
Hmm. Do you visit India before?
No, I haven't, but I will be
Okay,
with one of my closest friends.
okay, okay. Very good. So when you visit different countries, and so what things you like to do? You like to go to shopping, or you like to go for restaurant, or any other things?
No, no, I think that, to really experience a country, you can't really just go shopping and, like, I think we've learned, I'm very much one for not um, purchasing unnecessary products because it's just, it's not going to be sustainable for the future. And I think that, when I do visit India, I want to experience in India's culture in entirety, the poverty, etc., so I can actually observe the suffering and
Mhm.
connect with the beautiful citizens of India.
Mhm. Yes, India is a big country and very diversified culture they have. Even you can visit Taj Mahal, you can visit Mumbai, and many interesting places they have. I think you can learn many interesting things. But my question is that, like, okay, you have a secure life in Australia. You can build up your own business and everything inside Australia, and you can get a better life. Why you choose this kind of challenging activities? What's the reason behind that?
The
Because.
reason why I chose these kind of challenging activities because it's been my calling since I was 4 years old. And I guess that um, prior to the pandemic, I was working in marketing, and then
Mhm.
I resigned from my job in December. And then, the pandemic commenced, and then I started volunteering for open source medical supplies in Australia, quickly moved up the ranks because I just continued and continued and continued. Hence why I look quite tired now, to, distribute personal protective equipment and get in touch with the global group, etc. And yeah, I'm incredibly proud of what we've achieved within Australia. But the next stage is, as I've mentioned before, we'll be launching our Australian website, which will not only be selling Australian-made PPE globally at incredibly reasonable prices, we'll be providing education, resources, etc.
Mhm. Okay, this is interesting. And when I observe your bio and other things that you have good interest on research, so you are helping very important thing. Number one, healthcare, and number two, educations. So healthcare and education, especially developing nations, they have a massive challenges right now. Let's say healthcare system, many people actually even die and in the developing nations because of lack of medicine, lack of proper doctor, nurse. Even everybody do not know how to actually solve these things and challenges. So on the other hand, education also suffering. Many universities, schools, college, now they stop. Even they are not, let's say, not highly integrated with the internet, online schools, different things. So what's the solution you will offer for them? What's better solution you offer for them? Two specific things. One is healthcare, another one is education.
Mm-hmm. So what specific solutions will we offer for them?
Yes.
Well, that's an interesting one. So with healthcare, I'm fully aware that, developing nations do not have access to hospitals, that are fantastic. For example, I spent 6 months in Mauritius when I was 12, attended school there because that's where my father is originally from. And that is still considered a developing island. And they do not have really proper universities and adequate healthcare in Mauritius, as an example. So I believe the solution is to basically provide the education and the funding to those developing nations to give them support.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is very interesting. And do you have any plan? Because now in this kind of countries, many people are right now is unemployed, so
Yeah.
they do not have job. Even many people from city or capital, from capital they are moving in village. So like for as you have a research and you love to integrate it with the technology and this kind of things, what the what you think about these people? How do you think what they can do? Because now many people are unemployed, many people has different challenges, and many technology is coming. And developing nations challenge is very good because they do not have enough social protections, they do not have enough government support, but they have to survive. Even example, I know that a country is like Bangladesh. So there are many garments workers. So garments, they are losing their business. Many people are unemployed. There are many people are foreign workers that live in other countries. And now they have to go back to their country because they do not have job. This is very horrible scenario, very challenging situation. Even I know that government has a very proactive initiative, and government like and corporation and NGO, they are trying to help the local community. But scenario is much more difficult. What you are observing from news, observing from electronic media and print media. So in that situations, like what will be the responsibilities we can play from the global arena? from global world, how we can work together, how we can make a better teams, how we can contribute for Africa, contribute for Asia, contribute for South America, how we can make a better world.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad that you brought up that question, Professor Sheriff. Because yeah, in Australia we have a tremendous amount of unemployment. I don't know if many people are aware of that, but like so many people have lost their jobs during the pandemic, and I'm not dismissing the fact that what you just brought up. But with Worldwide Wings, we will be supporting individuals that do not have, that have particular talents, whether that be they're musicians, artists, etc., and providing them with, so just say, for example, there's a musical group in Africa, and they desperately want to, record CDs worldwide. So we will be supporting them and providing them with the funding to do so.
Okay. This is very interesting thing. Just I want to share some of the situations, like example, as I have strong integrations with the, let's say, education industry. So when I saw that from the education industry, millions of the students, they cannot go to schools, they cannot go to university. On the other hand, they have internet support, but issue is that like they do not have enough resources to help them. So education is the most important thing, especially for developing nations. Second thing, healthcare systems. I find that you are working with PPE, okay? So, but many of the people has a problem. Doctors, hospital, nurse, police, those who are frontliners, they have a problems with this PPE. Okay, even many doctors died in developing nations. There, I know that they have shortage of PPE, and many people has died. Their N95 mask is not appropriate. So on the other hand, major challenges the vaccine, not only vaccine productions, vaccine supply chain management. And you know that Dr. Mohammed Yunus, even Mahathir Mohammed, and many interesting leaders, global leaders, they are joining that we should provide vaccine for free. And this is obvious. This is there is no choice that if it's too much of expensive, how that developing nations peoples and underprivileged people, they will afford these things. This is also a major challenge. NGO globally, I don't know like how proactive they are, but yes, we are thinking maybe with the microfinance, with the micro initiative, micro activities, maybe we can bring the better solutions. We can do the better solution. Even the gender issues, like women in a very difficult situations. Even example, there are many poor peoples. So maybe they have to marry their girls in an underage. This is the economical challenges right now. So in that situations, I think that one and only solutions, people like you, I know maybe you have a brilliant idea, brilliant things, maybe you cannot express it 100%, but I know that you love to do work in that situations. So there are actually many challenging situations. So in that challenging situation, the more the global peoples we work together, the more we can contribute together, the more we can collaborate together, we can find out the better solutions. So that is the things. Like example, developed nations like Australia, developing countries like Bangladesh or these things, they have a different perspective, very different perspective in terms of cultures. But yes, they also have very good people. They also have very good organizations. I can give you an example like Vidyanando. Okay, they are doing a fantastic jobs, and they do as much as possible for their countries. They do not. They even I find there is a huge amount of volunteers for Vidyanand. So they do not get any payments. They do not get any things, but they are doing a lot of works for the nations, and they are whatever they have, they're getting the monies, and they're contributing. They're developing hospital, they're providing support to the underprivileged people with food, with healthcare, medicines, and many more things. I think there are already two of the questions and guidelines coming. One is Firdos Rana. She said, how Australia implementing the digital health technologies, especially artificial intelligence, in the future of medicine and healthcare. Actually, they want to know the implication of digital healthcare system as well as artificial intelligence. I think she's from Bangladesh. Araf Meras, they are also helping a lot for World Talent Economy Forums. Sohel Rana, Humaira Tanzil, everybody doing a brilliant jobs for World Talent Economy Forum. So Araf Mehra is asking, Australia is doing well to control the COVID-19. What's the policy behind this? So there are two questions. One is they want to know about the policy, Australian policy, and second thing, how you can give them some experience about digital healthcare system and artificial intelligence.
I'm very grateful to receive those questions because that was what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, so just give me 1 second. So, yeah, so, artificial intelligence, as we all know, has been around for a long time and has been proved to be useful in medicine and well, I've had experience in medical imaging. However, there is still a long road ahead. And in an attempt to overcome limitations in computer-aided diagnosis, investigators have created programs that stimulate expert human reasoning. Hopes that such a future strategy would lead to clinically useful programs have yet to be fully fulfilled completely, but many of the problems that have been problems before in artificial intelligence programs have been solved. Strategies have been developed to a limit. Sorry, give me 1 second. To a limit the number of hypotheses that a program must consider and incorporate reasoning. This latter innovation permits cases in which one disorder influences the presentation of another. Prototypes which embody such reasoning can explain their conclusions in medical terms that can be reviewed by the user. Despite substantial advances, further major research and development efforts will be necessary before expert performance by the computer becomes a reality. In medical imaging, for example, AI is able to detect fractures often more accurately than, let's say, a radiologist. However, in complex 3D imaging, nothing can still excel the observations of a skilled radiologist.
Okay. So can you share something about the Australian healthcare policy?
So the Australian healthcare policy is, we're very lucky in Australia in that we receive Medicare. But yes, and I definitely, our Australian healthcare policy is basically if you're an Australian citizen, you receive Medicare. However, that doesn't cover you for everything. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you have cancer, or you're diagnosed with cancer. Medicare doesn't cover that. And many other problems like, let's say you had a heart attack or whatever, you're still going to be out of pocket for that. And so, Australia, isn't by no means perfect, but we would like to, share our knowledge with the globe, worldwide, so that we can help underdeveloped countries.
Thank you for your nice discussions and a nice experience. And we know that how you contributing for the global arena. So more people join with Sara, support her objectives, and give all of your support, your positive impacts, and everything with Sara. She is trying to developing many interesting things. She loves to do work. She loves to make friendship, and she loves to contribute for human being. This is very important. And most important thing is that World Talent Economy Forum, we always believe women empowerment, and we have, yes, many brilliant men and women. They are coming and they are joining. They're sharing their organizational experience, point of views, and everything. But we want more contribution for women, those who have a brilliant mind like Sara, those who have lot of activities and contributions. Uh, they have to. They can join us. They can communicate with us. Definitely we're gonna invite you in the boards, and we will share your knowledge. And anybody has any important things that you want to work with Sara, definitely you're gonna communicate with her. And I think that she is developing something exceptional. She is developing something interesting, and she is developing something which is really important right now. The more we can create global community, the more we can create a better ecosystems, we can solve lot of problems, because now time for global commitment. Now time for like we have to show that how good we are, what we can do, how we can overcome from these situations. Maybe in Malaysia, maybe in Australia and Hong Kong, so many countries, they are lucky that they have better systems, and China, even USA and Europe, they have better systems. But yes, this is true. Sara has a very good visions. Developing nations has many challenges. Let's work with her. Let's solve the problem together and make a better world. Thank you, Sara, for your time and everything.
Thank you very much, Professor, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you. And yeah, I'd just like to end with the fact that, yeah, for 6 months I have volunteered my time, and hence why I do look quite tired today. And yeah, so yeah, even though it's only been within Australia, I basically pushed myself to the extreme, because that's who I am as a human being. I'm an empath, and I'm a humanitarian, and I'm a global citizen.
Yes, this is best approach you have. You have humanitarian approach. We respect your approach, and hopefully you will be successful in your mission. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time and everything.
I will be.
Thank you, audience.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.